Thankfully, you don't always have to do everything right in order to prevail against armed robbers. Hi everyone, it's John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Chile. And here we're going to see a potential victim who does just enough to get out of a very bad situation. It's going to teach us some important lessons about waiting for your opportunity against multiple attackers especially. And it's going to remind us about keeping our equipment and our gear in good working order and effective so that we can protect ourselves in effective ways. So this guy is just getting some money out at the ATM, and he is actually an off-duty police officer and just minding his own business, right? I don't like these kind of indoor ATMs like this because these guys are going to come in and start to threaten him. Now, the guy on the right, if you go read the news stories that are on my website, I always curate stuff there, is threatening him. And this guy's actually a convicted murderer. So this is a big deal. These guys mean business, and they've told him that they're going to hurt him if he doesn't withdraw a large sum of money for them. Now, he's playing kind of stupid here, but the guy gets him to start that. But when he walks out, guy draws his gun and gets this other guy down on the ground. He's like, nope, I'm not going to have that. Looks over, and the other guy ran off. News story said they caught him a few days later. Now, what's going to happen here is he's going to roll this guy over, get him to put his hands behind his back, and take this guy into custody and wait for other on-duty officers there. You can see him. He steps on the guy, and he's like, oh, man, I need to get my card. Gets his card out of the ATM, and now he's just going to hold him and wait for on-duty officers to arrive to arrest him. Now, let's go back and learn some lessons on this one. As always, there are 8 lessons on our website. Links to more information and all that stuff is always curated there. But let's think about some things. First of all, is ATM stands for accessory to mugging, right? You got to recognize that this guy here, when your attention is at the ATM, is just on the machine, that you can't think about what else is going on around you. So I always tell people, put your card in the machine, wait for it to beep at you by looking away from the machine and to see what's going on, because otherwise you don't get any time to respond. So this guy didn't get any time to respond before they were on top of him, and so he has to wait for his turn. Now that's a good thing when you wait for your turn in an armed robbery or a mugging at an ATM like this. So he's waiting for his opportunity. Now he finally gets it, and a couple of things that I want to think about here is he decides here to go for it. Why would he decide here? Because this one guy, the more dangerous one in the end run, has left, and so he only has to deal with one attacker in the moment, and so he turns into him to try to get his gun out. Now, one of the things from a tactical perspective, I will tell you, he's drawing with his right hand here, and so I would really encourage you to turn that hand away from the bad guy, because then otherwise he'll be able to get to your gun more easily. Secondly, you see him here, he's drawn without a full firing grip on the gun. One of the things you learn in training is to draw with a full firing grip and to carry where you can get that. Now, he didn't do that because he was carrying right-handed, but then ended up putting his gun in his left hand. Carry the gun with a holster on the correct side for your person. I'm left-handed, so I carry a left-handed holster, and if you're right-handed, carry a right-handed holster. Now, if you're not a law enforcement officer, you're not going to do this part, but he gets this guy down, and you notice it's finally over here. He starts checking on the other guy, and that's a good thing he did, but it took him an awful long time to check for the trailing accomplice or the second attacker, and those multiple attacker engagements are pretty common, and you don't want to lose sight of both of them because they're both a threat. Now, again, if you're not a law enforcement officer, you're not going to hold this guy. I'd tell you, to get out of the danger zone. But this guy is instead going to hold him, and that's kind of silly right there. You see him kind of stand on the guy's back. It's obviously not a stable platform, and I would never recommend that you do that. Instead, get some distance with your firearm and hold him there until on-duty police officers arrive. At the end of the day, this guy did enough. He launched a counter ambush at the right time. He was able to use the firearm as a control device without actually discharging it, so that's a great defensive gun use. And overall, he did enough to cover his asp.